The day of judgment has come upon us. Since we first heard about the 2026 regulations all the way back in 2023 and first shown in 2024, we have not heard the end of it. The new engines were either really good or really bad, depending on who was asked. The new car designs were either really good or really bad, depending on who was asked. The new energy stuff was either really good or really bad, depending on who was asked. The new sustainable, I think you get the point now. It was either sunshine and rainbows or doom and gloom, depending on who was asked regarding the 2026 regulations. And all that time, there was one thing we kept hearing throughout all the chaos: we must wait till the season opener of 2026. Only until then will we actually know what's going on with these new cars and the new tech. So a couple of years have passed, and here we are now. The 2026 Australian Grand Prix, the season opener of 2026, is upon us. We of course had the preseason tests in Bahrain and Barcelona, and while we did see how these cars operate now, three words kept flashing in our brains: it's only testing. Nothing can be taken as objective or true, since testing conditions will not be the conditions we will see for 99% of the season. So as the cars roll out for FP1 this week, four words kept flashing in our minds now: it's only free practice. Yes, it's a bit more clear than testing, but still, practice is practice. If anything, it should be taken as less objective than usual, since it's new cars at a track where they've never ran before. Drivers will need at minimum one session to understand everything new and find the new optimal lines, braking points, etc. So basically, quality and race will be our first true markers of the new reg period getting underway, where we can start making inferences about the new cars. However, even then, it's only one track. We are going to need a big sample of other races at different circuits so we could really grasp whether these regs are either abysmal dog shit or absolute cinema. Either way, guys, new engines and new cars at a somewhat tricky track, I fear death will be on our doorsteps. I'm expecting at minimum 3 DNFs, either due to crashes or engines blowing up, and hey, would you look at that, we already have a guaranteed 2 DNFs for Sunday. That's for later though, since I feel like I've done enough rambling. We are at Melbourne for the season opener, which just feels right. This place just feels like the Formula 1 starting point, and it could also be an omen for the rest of the season. If this race is boring, the season will likely be uneventful. However, there is an equal chance the heat death of the universe can happen, and if it does, boy, do we have a season on our hands. So let's find out if that happened by recapping the weekend and finding some delicious winners and losers. Go subscribe here and new if you like cats, and let's get to quacking now.
See those clouds up in the corner? That's where the rain is coming from.
Recap is first up as always, and oh my god, bruh. The build up to the weekend was largely uneventful, surprisingly, since no big news happened between testing to now. I mean, there was the news that Mercedes may have to change their engine soon, but that was something we sort of knew would happen. There was also the news that the start procedure would be changed slightly to allow more time for the incompetent teams to rev up their engine so they don't die off the line, which, sure, whatever. These were things we expected to happen. However, again, oh my god, bruh. Aston Martin Formula 1 team have officially been demoted to Aston Martin Formula 3 team, since this is so embarrassing. The story goes, Aston and Newey were building this sick-ass car with sick aero and chassis work that will totally be fast. They weren't concerned about the engine too, because Honda said, yeah, don't worry, trust us, bro, we got this. So Newey believed them and didn't go to check up on them once in their year since their partnership was announced. However, one random November, they finally check up on them, and holy shit, they are so fucked. Honda have been steadily hinting that their engine will not be so good, so when Aston and the boys finally checked, oh my goodness, they were not lying. But who knows, maybe it won't be so bad. They roll up to Barcelona shakedown and die 5 laps in. Nice. Then they show up in Bahrain and blow up, break down too many times to count. And to add a nice, delicious, voluptuous cherry on top, they show up to Melbourne interview saying, we will not complete the race. The engine is so bad and vibrating that it is actually impossible to finish the race. Wow. Alonso said he could do 25 laps before getting nerve damage, and Stroll said he could do 15 laps and akin the car to an electric chair. Bro, what the fuck? Is this hell Formula 1 team? Where did things go so wrong? Well, it appears that it's like this because of the number one problem every relationship encounters: communication. Honda didn't really relay how bad things were, and when they did, Aston never really cared because they had the time. So now we have 2 DNFs guaranteed for Sunday, and that's if they don't pull out first. Some things you just cannot write. Anyways, that was the Thursday drama. Let's move into Friday with FP1 and FP2. We are so back. FP1 begins, and wow, How I missed this. I don't mean the sport. Well, yeah, I do mean the sport, but I mean looking at the feed and just seeing a good looking car. The ground effect cars just looked so weird and unpleasant. These cars look like Formula 1 again, and boy, am I happy. Anyways, the usual FP1 stuff happened in FP1. However, remember when I said the new engines would surely mean engine DNFs? Well, I wasn't wrong. Within the first 4 minutes of the first official session of F1 2026, 4 cars had issues on track. There was, of course, Lance, who, well, you know what's up, but then there was Lindblad, who drove a solid 2 feet before breaking down, and both McLaren cars who had their own issues. Now, in their case, it was electrical, but it's close enough. Anyways, it wouldn't be so doom and gloom. We did see some good action, but I don't know, it's just FP1. Like, woohoo, it's new cars on track, but like, it's still FP1. Just because I see Ferrari 1-2 doesn't mean I'm gonna be so jolly. I know their Game of Glory runs. Perhaps it's me being really cautious, but I'm not reading into anything when it comes to running order. So with that said, FP2 time, and what did I say? McLaren, who looked hot garbage in FP1, are now fastest with Pacer in FP2, along with Merc 2 and 3, who also look slightly disappointing in FP1. So I'm just gonna come out here and say this. Don't expect me to read into the running order until maybe Bahrain. Anyways, FP2 was just more of the same, really. Checo, Franco, and Max were the only ones who blew up, while everybody else just continued to get up to grips with their new machines. However, if I had a nickel for every time a Mercedes car made contact with a Red Bull car in the pit lane in the past 6 months, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice. In fact, 3 times if you go past 6 months, since remember Miami Sprint? Yeah. Anyways, that's about it for Friday. The new energy stuff for sure looks very interesting with all the lifts and coasts and super clips, but I'm optimistic the FI and the teams will find some solution to the extreme lifts shown here and probably at similar tracks. Anyways, it's Saturday time now. How can qualifying go? FP3 would just have everything, man. Again, more cars broke down, Lance couldn't even go out on track, and Williams maybe are more down in the dumps than we anticipated. Anyways, aside from those explosions, the session was just relatively normal with everyone playing it safe and not crashing for qualifying later. However, when it did come time for quali simulations, naturally the drivers start pushing, and then we wait for the crash. Kimi Antonelli will be the victim today, and man, why you, Kimi? I'm not gonna act like the season's over, but come on, dude, it's 2026 now, grow up. We pray his car's repaired in time, which, I wouldn't be so hopeful. Anyways, Russell dunked 6/10 on the grid and apparently the 3rd fastest car, so now we move into qualifying. Throw everything we have so far. Quali will really show where each team stacks up for the year, so game on. Q1 begins, and holy shit, it really is 2014 again. If I had a nickel for every time an experienced 4-time world champion Red Bull driver starts getting done by his significantly inexperienced teammate, I would have 2 nickels, which may not be a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice. Now, I'm just trolling. Max had a Melbourne 2024 moment in the sense of his failure was out of his control since the rear braking axle thingy broke, but come on, the choke was right there, I had to go for it. Anyways, Hedger outqualifying Max on first try was something no one saw coming, so what about the rest of the session? Well, it wouldn't be that eventful all things considered since drivers, they just played it safe. It's Q1 after all, there's not going to be much to report. I mean, Sainz and Stroll weren't able to set a lap due to unforeseen circumstances, and with Max's crash, Alonso nearly got out of Q1 after everything with Aston, but couldn't thanks to Franco Colapinto getting to Q2 for the first time since 2024. So Q2 time and usual Q2 things happened, which means nothing happened. However, Mercedes, go fuck yourselves. Every time with the sandbags, man, it's so annoying. Even more so since George is ahead by several tenths. He is literally uncontested, max 2023 levels. It's just annoying. More so because Ferrari also seem to be asleep right now with Lewis not being able to set 3 good sectors and Charles decided to jerk off in the middle of the lap. So as we head into Q3, minus the Gabby Bortoleto since he died right after Q2 ended, how can the final lap set the grid? Well, after Mercedes totally didn't rig the session with a quote-unquote mistake with Kimi, all I gotta say is welcome to 2014, 12 years later. George is on pole by 3 tenths to Kimi, who is 4 tenths ahead of Hadjar in 3rd, which by the way, good shit, but that means Hadjar is 7, nearly 8 tenths off a pole from 3rd. Mercedes, your days are so numbered. And if not, every team must implement whatever trick they have since this is so embarrassing for everyone not named Mercedes. Anyways, Merc aside, it does seem that every team is close to each other somewhat on some 2023 shit, so let's see if Sunday, race day, could be salvageable. Dude, turn on the news, doesn't matter what channel. Somehow, of all people on the grid for the Australia race, Oscar Piastri crashes on his way to the grid on lap -1. My guy was asleep or something, since while riding a high curb, he's like, let me floor it, and what-oh, the barrier is right there and his car is smashed. The Aussie curse is just so real, man. What the hell? So after that heartbreak, we finally start the race, and oh my god. Russell gets a so-and-so start while Kimi drops back, which allows both Ferraris to come through, and now we have a real fight on our hands. Lindblad also really benefited from the start chaos, since my guy was third for a while before dropping back to only 6th. Only. But dude, Charles and George are cooking. Pass, repass, gap, no gap. This is great racing right here with an odd Hamilton challenge here and there. Is this fun to watch? On lap 12, Hadjar in 5th would unfortunately break down, which sucks considering how good of a weekend it's been so far for him, which brings out VSC and sees some pit early, like notably Mercedes, while Ferrari stay out, which may be the wrong thing to do. Well, not even 10 laps later, another VSC is out for Bottas, who dies right at the pit lane like the dick he is, which closes it and cannot allow Ferrari to pit. So the race is back underway, and the race is settling down now as we move into the strategy game. Leclerc pits on lap 16, and after Lewis is overtaken by George on lap 28, he pits as well. Now we wait and see. Have Ferrari fumbled? Anyways, during all of that, Alonso somehow came back to life. Yes, he died and is back out on track with a lovely gap of, 10 laps to Stroll, who is 17th. Also, Colapinto was given the world's first Colapinto and go penalty, and yeah, this race is bloody cursed. More so because while Checo was driving, his car decided to blow up literally, which brought out yet another VSC. So that lifts, and yeah, the race is fully settled. The Mercs are clear out in front thanks to Ferrari, who did throw the strategy away, but hey, at least there could be competition. The midfield plus Lando and Max are still cooking, so it's not like the race completely died, but man, for a minute, I really thought we were gonna have a race-long battle for the lead. Anyways, the race concludes with George Russell running away with victory from Antonelli, who provides very good support from Charles, who deserved way more in 3rd, and let's also mention Lewis in 4th, who did race brilliantly. Overall, this was a pretty good first race, all things considered, since this track in theory is one of the worst ones for these cars, so while qualifying may be a bit disgusting still, at least the races can cook, especially if Merc and Ferrari continue to fight as they did. Anyways, now for the first winners and losers of the year, and as always, losers first, and I have Aston Martin. 4 for 4, man, you gotta respect it. I mean, what more can I say that I haven't said from the winners and losers from the shakedown and both Bahrain tests? It's just so unbelievably over for these guys. We do have new info, such as Aston and Honda apparently know what's wrong now, but too late now, don't you think? We just gotta hope they actually know what's wrong and know that it will be solved in relative time, because China for sure will be more of the same, and perhaps Japan too. So if there is a lesson to be learned from the guys at Aston Honda, remember, always communicate with your partner, whatever their relationship is. Intimate relationship, friendship, work relationship, don't matter. Communicate, goddammit. One last thing though, yes, Honda are to blame for this terrible start to the year. However, let's not pretend Aston and Newey don't have blame themselves too. They somewhat knew that the engine would have issues and had to take some initiative to counteract that, but they didn't. That was willingly, I bet too. Just an all-around terrible blunder from everyone at Aston Honda. You really hate to see it. Next up is Cadillac, who I suppose this was expected. I don't know. I feel bad calling them losers since they ain't really losers. I mean, sure, they have mountains of issues, but they seem to be all minor with nothing really concerning showing up yet. So I don't know. I don't feel good calling them losers. But a back of the grid performance is a back of the grid performance, and they certainly could have done a bit better had these issues not been so prevalent. But regardless, first race weekend has been completed, so surely it's only up from here. Next up is Alpine, who I don't know if it's just me, but I am really disappointed. I thought for sure Alpine were going to have a far better year this year, but now it just looks whatever, dude. I mean, for sure they are better since they ain't 5 seconds off the pace down on the dumps anymore, but they ain't much higher, which is strange because I swear in testing it looked far faster than this. And I'm willing to bet that is the case, but as to be expected in a year like this, the development war will be ever important to stay on top. So my my guess is Alpine were caught out, especially compared to teams like Audi, who we will discuss later. But yeah, overall, a better performance, sure, compared to 2025, but it needs to get much better since surely 2025 was a worthy sacrifice, right? Next up is Williams, who, man, not like this. I'm sorry, but after talking such a massive game, Williams, you cannot perform like this. Sainz broke down in FP3, causing him to miss quali, which I don't think mattered anyways, considering Albon didn't do much either. I'm sure Williams will be able to develop their way forwards, but it makes you wonder still, where and why did it go so bad? That car is more overweight than the average American, which is really holding them back. And it would be fine if most teams were fat like in 2022, but no, most are pretty okay with weight. It's really just Williams with this issue. I don't know, I sure hope they could fix the issue soon, since Australia was just embarrassing after everyone really believed it would be great. I mean, even Sainz thought so too, since it's the whole reason why he signed with them over Audi. A midfield performance is not what he's here for. So, Mr. AIOU, you better find a solution fast and soon. Now for the winners, and I begin with Mercedes. Go fuck yourselves. Okay, we must give them their props. This is not a cheating thing or a favoritism thing. Mercedes have genuinely done it again. They have built a beast of a car that is just so damn good. It's not flawless, since aero-wise, it is sort of lacking, but when it comes to everything else, it's just 10s across the board, and even with the aero, it's still like an 8 or a 9, so they are this far ahead on pure merit. I don't know if this is W11 levels, but in terms of dominance over the field, it may as well be. Now, will their neat engine trick be banned? Who knows, but I sure hope not. Every team should run it, since when it comes to energy recovery, it does seem to be far better than everyone else's method. Plus, the extra performance is just too sweet to let go, so I really hope that every team could learn how to implement it relatively soon. Now, it is reported that Melbourne would always favor Merc because of all the straights here, so perhaps at a place like China or just somewhere less high speed, the field will be much closer to each other. Either way, hats off to Merc. They've done it again, and GR1 is upon us. Unless Antonelli has a say in things. Next up is Hadjar, who, are you kidding me? Not only does Max crash out in qualifying, Hadjar qualifies in third and races super hard and good that can totally give Max a run for his money. Lauren Mekis, thank you, man. Thank you for allowing Red Bull's second drivers to be F1 drivers again. Now, it is just round 1, so who knows? Maybe Hadjar is down in P15 come Austria, but for now, he looks super good. He is gelling well with the Red Bull so far, and even when Max was setting good lap times, Isak was not far off. You know, when his engine wasn't blowing up. It genuinely looks so back for Red Bull second drivers, so let's see what else this year could have in store for him. Please don't jinx. Next up is Ferrari. Now, yes, they low-cannually threw in the strategy since they really should have put under VSC, but still, they were able to compare sizes with Mercedes, which is more than enough for me. Mercedes are not invincible for now, and as long as the team can find some one-lap pace and engine performance, we can be right there. The chassis is on our side, the aero on our side, the reliability on our side. We just need the Infinity Stone of engine power, and we can do it. Charles and Lewis both had perfect starts and were able to go toe-to-toe with George, which gave us such a beautiful first 10 laps. So let us see what China's got for us. Next up is Audi, who I gotta say, this is my biggest surprise. From the moment Audi announced their arrival in F1 back in 2023, we have heard nothing but horrible things from them. Their engine will be so bad, their car will be a brick, their staff will be behind. Yet come round 1, and while reliability is for sure a concern, they are not alone in that, and in other aspects, they look really good. Their engine performance is actually not that bad for a newcomer, and their car design plus aero seem to be working pretty well so far. Who knows where Gabby would have qualified in Q3, but in the race, he more than made up for it with his driving. Plus, Hulkenberg is not letting age affect him since he drove really well too in the qualifying, and you know what? I'm really happy. I thought for sure Audi would be embarrassingly bad, but I am so surprised and happy. Let's see if Binotto cannot cheat this time. And finally, I have Arvid Lindblad. First race under complicated regulations, don't matter, he is that guy. He gets all the way up to third at the start, and even when he gets swamped out later, he is still super competitive with his actual midfield competition. I don't know, man, I am truly speechless since he showed blitzing pace in qualifying and the race, along with brilliant racecraft, not to mention he left Liam in the dust. So good shit, man. Let's see what you got. Now for the bonus category, and I have the survivor category for the only team to face 0 issues this weekend, and that would be no one. 2014, it's like you never left. Finally, let's see how my predictions ended up. My qualifying predictions were pretty damn wrong, but who could have seen any of this coming? My race predictions were pretty wrong, but I'm not complaining about this. My roundup prediction was wrong, thankfully, like super thankfully. Your predictions were sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. And finally, my new bingo card is without a hit. So those were my winners and losers from the first weekend of 2026. I'm so glad we're back, man. I am staying optimistic for this year, and even if it does turn terrible, hey man, I'm sure the FI will find solutions. They're not run by idiots, mostly, but China is of course right next up in the doubleheader, so expect the weekend preview very soon. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the vlog for the continued support, and make sure to join if you want cool benefits as well as just helping me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe since it really helps me out. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you think of this, and as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.